video, I'm going to provide a brief overview of the Eliciting Students' Ideas practice in the context of the Tracing Carbon Through the Arctic Food Web data puzzle. The goal of this practice is to elicit student ideas about an opening scenario. This opening scenario can be images, a video, a demonstration that has similarities to the science investigation presented in the data puzzle. And so student experiences, ideas, and language can be used as a resource to help students make sense of complex science phenomena. So bringing them out at the start allows the teacher to use these as resources to help them make sense of this new phenomena, this investigative question presented in the data puzzle. And I want to pause here quickly and say that this part one, this opening scenario, is not included in the student worksheet. And so we've had teachers facilitate this, this part in a number of different ways. Some have used the opening scenario as a warm-up prompt students will respond to in their science notebooks. Others challenge students to think and talk in small groups with a think, pair, share. And others have put students in small groups and have them respond to the prompts or the opening scenario using whiteboards. And so the opening scenario for the Tracing Carbon Through the Arctic Food Web data puzzle is this. What does it mean when someone says you are what you eat? And you want to let students know that they should be prepared to share their thinking with the whole class. And so here, after giving some time for students to think about this and respond to this prompt, you want to facilitate a whole class discussion and really be keying in on some ideas that students bring out that you might want to revisit later in the data puzzle. So thinking about, students may say things like, the ingredients in the food make up the ingredients in your body, or eating more healthy food might help you fat. Maybe the ingredients, the materials, the building blocks of those healthy foods allow your cells to be healthy in some way. And so getting students to think and make those connections is critical here. And so putting a pin in ideas like that to revisit later is important. If those ideas don't come out in that initial discussion, we've also included a video that makes those things more explicit, those ideas more explicit. So watching this video from 1 minute to 2:45 minutes and having students think about the relationship between the food you eat and the cells in your body, and asking them to think about how could you learn anything about a person's diet by studying their cells. And this is a really critical question, the second piece, because that's what ecologists in the Arctic are doing to better understand the diet of Arctic organisms. They're studying their cells. And so these ecologists in the Arctic, they're studying feeding relationships by measuring the different types of fats found in Arctic organisms. And so they can trace different types of fats through the Arctic food web to better understand who eats whom. And so in 2008, ecologists traveled to Upyik, Alaska to study Arctic feeding relationships. And they're trying to learn how these feeding relationships may change in the future due to rising temperatures and the dramatic decline in sea ice. Sea ice is an important habitat for many organisms in the Arctic. And so we're going to learn more about this 2008 study by reading and exploring an interactive text, the puzzle plot. And so at this point, part one is done and students are ready to transition into part two, where they'll learn more about this investigation, and you can hand out the student worksheet at this point and move on to part two, identifying important science ideas.